does chemistry matter in choosing who to marry? We've all had it. There's a lot that is out there that has been said over the years, and how these things have shaped our view on attraction, on affection, and on attachment. Attraction, affection, and attachment. These things have been said in view of chemistry, and it is, as we go through this talk, we're going to be looking at what these are, or how these are viewed. But let me just give a brief overview, or really just what I've been doing research and putting my ear to the ground on what people think. There is a podcast reel I watched on Instagram where this couple was saying, marriage is an intensely sexual relationship. Marriage is done in the flesh, they say. This is a Christian set. Yeah, it's a Christian guy. Marriage is done, well, at least that's what they claim. It's up to you to determine. And he says, the Bible says we become one flesh, not one spirit. One flesh, body. Don't choose to marry a person you are coping with, they say. There is a difference between love and like. Don't just love them, they say. Like them. Or like the person you choose to love. Marry your friend or best friend. The person that you marry should be that friend. But friendship is the hardest when there is no chemistry, they say. And this is one among a myriad of social media Christian elites that spew such rhetoric. It is true, or is it? Does it make sense? How come it isn't working for some people and it is working for others? And some of us might be already asking those questions, right? And even the way I presented, you're like, should we be believing that or not? So let's get some working definitions, okay? Some working definitions. I still did some basic research and wanted to know where one would get the best definition of chemistry and or physical attraction. Some psychologists attribute good feelings to a hormone released in the brain called what? Dopamine. The hormone produces a powerful chemical reaction in the brain that kicks in good feelings of attraction. And they say, but unfortunately for many, sobriety is lost in this excitement. People are no longer sober when it takes over. So I went to eHarmony, one of the largest dating sites in the world. And it is, it calls this thing dating chemistry. Calls it dating chemistry. It suggests that dating chemistry is the connection between two people that is manifested physically. And that's, when you say physically, that's, you know, when you meet someone that gets your blood boiling, you're all hot and bothered. You meet them, they look right for your eyes. So it's physically or emotionally, where you don't just feel at home with this person, you feel they are home. You will get it one day. Somebody say, anyway. Harmony says that the chemistry you share with a person is one of the most important parts of dating. This is, like I've said, it's one of the most popular dating sites ever. And this is the information they're giving. This is probably where the term shrekking originated. For those who don't know it, it is a new term used to describe someone who lowered their standards so that their standards, especially in terms of attraction, so that in the hope that this person who is less attractive will love them more. And usually when you're shreked, it means that that person dumped you, the one who you lowered your standards for. One TikToker says in a video, we give the guys we are not attracted to a chance thinking that they will be sure. they will for sure know what they have and treat us well. And then we get traumatized by the whole troll. So the question is chemical attraction that important? If chemical attraction is one of the most important parts of dating and is foundational to building relationships, then it goes without saying that it should be the most important thing even in marriage. At least that's what I thought. And so I'm going to give illustrations from my personal life that will you will probably relate to one of. I'll give 4 illustrations. I'll call the first one the first girlfriend. The best friend becomes girlfriend type, where we are in love with the idea of being in love. She's the kind of girl you get along with, or the kind of guy you get along with. You understand? I'm speaking from a guy's point of view, so ladies, you will extrapolate. The funny one that always made you laugh and you never wanted to stop talking. So it only makes logical sense to be together. When people begin to say, you guys, you're good together. So we try and make it work. Needless to say, for me, it didn't work. It shattered the soul and the friendship along with it many times. That's probably why they say, don't do that. Tochikola. So your best friend, Tochikola, they say. It is out of this tragic trauma that we come up with the notion, never date your best friend, right? It's a trauma response. Never date your best friend is a trauma response. Do not ever think that this is coming from a good place. And so I went with my trauma and my response into another relationship within a matter of weeks. So I then call the second girlfriend. Girlfriend becomes best friend. The other one was best friend becomes. Now this one is girlfriend becomes best friend, where love is now no longer an idea. It is, you're looking for an experience. You're looking for an experience. I had the knack to prove both to myself and to my ex that I was not the one with the problem. Deep in my psyche, I needed to know this so that I am true to myself rather than face the terrifying realities of my inadequacies that led to the breakup. So I fought hard to be enough for this one. Have her not complain, just praise. Have her see me and no other. To love bomb her. See her swoon and squirm at my every presence. Never leave them the same every time we meet. That was my... Never leave the same. Okay, yeah, you get. But the thing with this is that it gets old, and it gets old quick. For mine, it took about 4 years to get old. You begin to want more. Then there is, for us Christians, there's the trouble because you have given and given and you can't give anymore. You've heard those statements? Yeah. You give and give and they take and take and you can't give anymore. And if you were to give more, it would mean compromising your standards. These relationships typically last longer than they should because we're trying to make it work. We're trying to prove to the world that they must work. I made the choice. So there is strain in the relationship where there are unmatched and unmet expectations based on the asinine understanding of the emphasis on chemistry, spark, oomph, and attraction. Vibes. This is even at the expense of common grace and sometimes common sense. This is where we grow wary of each other, and now it's a matter of time. You wait each other out. Who is going to break up with the other first? So for me, she got wary and technically ended it, and I quickly sealed it by moving on to our next relationship. Swiftly. I prided myself in moving on. It was the thing. You see, when you base your life on attraction, yeah. Moving on is like the means by which you are attracted one to another. Moving on quickly. It is therapeutic. And so we fear to give more. And so we are in this experience, we are looking for an out of body experience. But we don't find it. We hope into another. I hoped into another, searching for the chemistry, for the attraction, for the oomph, for the spark. Because the Lord wanted me to be happy. Hallelujah. The third girlfriend. And I said here, loving the girl of the Lord. Loving the girl of the Lord. She became my idol. This is the one a number of you have heard me talk about. This one. Hey, this one is tough. This is the girl that you fall in love with without reservation or common sense. Where, like Jane Austen observes, you say cringe things like, if you loved them less, you might be able to talk about it more. Yeah, I used to be those guys. Cringe. Where falling in love is like falling asleep. Comes slowly and then all at once. This was it for me at some point. This is what it looked like with this girl. She became an idol for me and I was that for her. We not only wanted an out-of-body experience, we now were looking for an in-body experience, if you know what I mean. Yeah, because the chemistry had to advance. Yeah. It had metastasized. I just used that word anyway. So we gave up our little boundaries that were left. Every last defense was put down. Every last defense. We cherished every waking moment and longed for one more moment with the other after another. One more glance, one more brush of the skin against skin, one more kiss, one more longing look, one more tug of desire that tells you you are wanted as much as you want. But like the Proverbs 5 man and woman, this is the forbidden fruit, isn't it? It looks good, tastes good, and it must be good. Woo. We rationalize our compromises until we normalize our sin. Let me repeat that. We rationalize our compromises until we normalize our sin. What was sinful is now just weak. But I love him. Proverbs 5:3 says, for the lips of the forbidden woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. Such chemistry, right? Such attractiveness. It is all consuming. And yet it is to our detriment. Such relationships value attractiveness and chemistry over anything else. And for as long as the chemistry is the life force, we are so alive, so infatuated, so powerfully engrossed into the other. It is us against the world, we say. And so these relationships ensure that the people are performers for the beloved. To keep the beloved, I have to perform all my duties. I have seen marriages that started here and none have lasted. And I've seen many. I'm packing some age, so I've seen quite a bit. This is the kind of relationship that When a breakup happens and everything crumbles under the pressure of the end, pieces of us go with it. We are not the same ever again. And for some, that would be a good thing, and for others, it's a terrible thing for the one coming next. Fortunately for me, the fourth girlfriend. The God-girl chemistry. I like to call her that. The other one was the idol. This one, the idol is, I loved the girl of the Lord. This one, I loved the Lord of this girl. This is the one you don't waste time wondering about chemistry. You no. And for those of you who understand what this means, there is nothing that can compare to that experience. It is such a trivial matter in view of all of God's goodness with this person. You see, when it is God at the helm of it, ladies and gentlemen, there is no dating chemistry, no attractiveness, no affection or attachment that can hold a candle to the divinely conscious connection. Huh. I said, when it is God at the helm of it, there is no dating chemistry, no attractiveness, no affection or attachment that can hold a candle to this divinely conscious connection. There is clarity of mind, a certainty of heart, and a strength of will that is unmatched, incomparable, unfathomable most times. I loved the Lord of this girl because if after all I had been through, he could bring her to me. This God is good. He showed off through her. He was steady, young, alive. She was amazing, alive to Christ, and therefore had no idea what chemistry or oomph was about, because for her she was consumed with the things of God. Tim Keller says, this is real love. When you put your happiness into their happiness, then you really love them. When their joys become your joys, when their delights become your delight. This was pretty much what happened to me. You see, out of the ashes of what was once considered chemical goals, out of the rubble under which I was crushed to pieces in the former relationship, I beheld the beauty of his glory, and it altered my longings. When I was crushed, God allowed for that crushing to help me see him. It shifted my passions and it redirected my affections. I felt alive again, and this time it was different. Like the psalmist wrote, his consolations cheered my soul. Psalm 94:19. And now I could ask for one thing and one thing alone, to dwell in the presence of God all the days of my life. My affections had been transcended. To one who has been completely rescued from his own futility, there is nothing better. If I have been rescued from what I experienced previously, that it revealed how very broken, very sinful, very lowly I was, there is nothing better than that experience. And so, to find the Lord pleasurable, all-consuming, because in him I find the fullness of joy, because in his hands are pleasures forevermore. That's where he got me to, from a very dark place. This cannot be compared to any romantic or chemically induced relationship. These relationships are toxic in comparison. A gentleman called James Orthius wrote in his book, Pledge You My Troth. He was reflecting on marriage, family, and friendship, and he says, although the romantic congenialities usually draw two people together, romantic feelings by themselves are too capricious and uncertain to serve as the dominant factor in marriage. Physical attractiveness is uncertain at best and almost inevitably wanes. So why should I bring such importance to physical attractiveness or to dating chemistry? Why would I let go of someone with whom I connect at an emotional and spiritual level to be with someone that I have chemistry with? May I ask that question again? Why would I let go of someone with whom I connect at an emotional and spiritual level to be with someone that I have chemistry at a physical level with? Why do I hear people say, I can't be with someone I am not physically attracted to? We are all culprits of this. You can look at me the way you want, but you know it. What are we looking for in physical attraction and chemistry that connectedness, compatibility, and common sense can't give you? Some that have placed it this highly say that relationships are more exciting with chemistry, right? They say things like a relationship with no chemistry is about as exciting as watching paint dry. They say chemistry keeps a constant flow of good feelings. That's what they are saying, why it is important. Some have even said it's foundational. Unless you have chemistry with someone, it's difficult to find the motivation to date them long enough to see if you are compatible with them long term. These are phrases that have been used when polls have been taken. Why it is important to have chemistry? The question is, really? For us Christians, is it really? This is what the world fed us. It's what the world fed me. And that's why I have those experiences, those three experiences. I lived in sin because I believed these sinful notions of love. They are sinful because they fall short of God, who is indeed our ultimate love. They are sinful because they constantly draw me away from seeing how God truly is more than I ever bargained for. John Piper says something profound to this effect. We sin because sin makes promises to us. Nobody sins out of duty. We sin out of pleasure, seeking. The only way the power of sin can be broken is by the presence and the promise of a superior pleasure. So in the final analysis, when chemistry, attraction, affection, and attachment are ordered by and come from a deep devotion to a more superior pleasure, relationships centered on this are stuff of legends. The choice will always be character over chemistry, heart over art. Like heart over art. Manners over makeup. Mind over matter. That is how it will always be for as long as it is God who has ordained our choices. Does chemistry matter in choosing who to date or marry? I'll say it matters as much as eyesight matters to taste buds. It's okay to see the food. But if it's good food, do you need your eyes for eating the good food? Do you? You eat with your eyes, eh? Ah, yeah. Optical nutrition. Mm. By his sovereignty, he omnisciently designed us to find those he designed for us. May I repeat that? By his sovereignty, God omnisciently, because he is all-knowing, designed us to find those he designed for us. When we worry about ending up with someone we are not attracted to or settling for, when we worry about settling for less than we hoped, do we really see God in our story? Do we really trust him? Do we find the fullness of joy and pleasure forevermore in him? When we are worried about these things, these trivialities reveal how little we may be thinking of God. So let us have the mind of Christ in choosing who to marry, not just chemistry. Look out for the fear of the Lord, as in Proverbs 31:30. Look out for the delight in the Lord, as in Psalm 37 verse 4. Look for care for the marginalized, as in Proverbs 31:8 and 9. And by the way, we were talking about the Proverbs 31 woman, but there's a Proverbs 31 man. And the Proverbs 31 man. Gentlemen, I want you to pay attention to verse 1 to verse 10. That guy, that's the one you need to think about and ask the Lord to shape your heart to become. Look for the humble and the meek at heart. Matthew 5. Look out for the passions of the gospel. One who says, knowing Christ and him crucified. Look out for these things. So you have to ask yourself this question: where is the place of chemistry in the heart of Christ?